Hello everyone, welcome to the Armageddon Championship Series 2023. The show that hits you harder than an orca's fin jumping out of the sea and getting a bit too close to your face. I'm Grandmaster Simon Williams, and we're happy to be broadcasting, myself and my good friend, International Master Jovanka Huska, from our studio in Berlin.
Absolutely pumped to be here, Simon, because this tournament is incredible. This is the first day of our fourth and final qualifier, the Europe and Africa regional event. But last month in May, it was Women's Week here in Berlin, and 8 of the world's top female players came to test out Armageddon chess. Let's have a look at the highlights.
From May 8th to May 15th, 8 players faced off in the third leg of the Armageddon Series Women's Week in Berlin. A superb lineup of Humpy Korniru, Alina Kashlinskaya, Nana Dziadnidze, Gunay Mamadzada, Sara Khadan, Alexandra Kusteniuk, Elizabeth Pates, and Bibisara Asyubayeva fought it out for the title. 2 spots in the grand finale and some big money. With a mix of youth, experience, national titles, world titles in all formats and Olympiad wins, the record of our players was simply flabbergasting. The final saw 2 legends of the game go at it in Humpy Korniru, Bibisara Asyubayeva, and it was the youngest of the 2-time Blitz world champion 19-year-old Bibisara that eventually won. They both qualified for the grand finale of the Armageddon Series that will take place in Berlin in September 2023.
This is Armageddon Championship Series 2023, the ultimate chess showdown of the year. The first 3 tournaments have already finished. The Americas with finalists Wesley So and Sam Shankland. Asia and Oceania with winners Nordibek Abdusattorov and Gukesh. And a special qualifying stage, Women's Week, where Bibisara Asyubayeva and Humpy Korniru showed their best. And this week, our 4th tournament, Europe and Africa Regional Series.
8 of the strongest players compete for a spot in the grand final with a chance to win the Armageddon Championship. All our events are broadcast live from the World Chess Club Berlin on Unter den Linden. This is make or break. Who will make the cut and go through? Don't go anywhere. This is Armageddon. Well, it's been so much fun so far, but it's only getting better and better. And this is the last qualifying event that we have coming up. And we've got some very juicy matchups, which we're going to look at now.
And take a look at some of those names. Jan Krzysztof Duda from Poland, Maxim Vachilegraf, Michael Adams, Richard Rapport, Romania's top player, Vincent Kaimer, just 18 years old, Matthias Blumbaum, top player from Germany, Jordan van Foreest, one of the world's most creative players, and Alexander Donchenko, online qualifier. It's incredible here.
It is, and we started with a very fun opening ceremony yesterday, actually, and you can see here a lot of the people taking part will be coming up very shortly. Our beautiful studio there, and well, I have to say, even me and Jovanka made some cocktails, which was a lot of fun. There you see English legend Mickey Adams, and just some of the players who we're going to be looking at very shortly in this fascinating format. Some nice cakes in the background there as well, Jovanka.
Yeah, and take a look at how many people are playing chess, both inside, outside, and a lot of fun, as well as some DJ music.
Yeah, it was great fun. It was a great opening event, and you can see just how busy it is. This is the World Chess Club, just by Unter den Linden in Berlin. So if you're in the area, this is the highlight of the night, clearly. Myself and Jovanka just throwing some nice drinks together there.
And of course, we have to mention our sponsors. IT.com Domains, the official partner of the Armageddon Championship Series, is IT.com Domains, a domain registry like no other. It provides a platform for anyone to create innovative domains and effectively showcase their online presence. Don't miss this opportunity. Visit IT.com today and create your unique online image.
Yeah, so it's time now to have a bit of a deeper look at the bracket and who's playing who. And the first match is mouth-watering. It's Mickey Adams versus Jan Krzysztof Duda. But let's just remind everyone of the format. It's a double elimination format, so that means in these mini matches, if a player loses, they get a second chance. They drop down to that bottom part, the lower bracket. If you lose 2 matches, then you're out and you go home. But better to not lose 1 match.
Yeah, better to win them all, as they say. And it's day 1 of the tournament. We're getting close to the start, so let's take a look at our 2 pairs for the day. We have Michael Adams against Jan Krzysztof Duda and Vincent Kaimer against Alexander Donchenko. And this is very juicy. So let's take a look at the first pair. And let's have a look, because this is very spicy. A clash of number 1s.
Yes, definitely. You have Mickey Adams, who's been number 1 from England for a long, long time. He's a legend of the game, nicknamed the Spider for the way he plays chess, controlling the ball. But he's playing a newer legend, I think I can say it that way, Jan Krzysztof Duda. A deep dive now into those players. And let's start with Mickey Adams. He was a grandmaster at the age of 17. His blitz rating, 27-11. He was a champion of Britain 7 times. He was FIDE World Championship finalist in 2004. He's a hero of a lot of us, including myself. He's a brilliant, brilliant role model and player. And if we see...
Hi, I'm Michael Adams, a chess player from England. I started off in chess when I was taught by my father when I was 6-7 years old. He wanted to teach me drafts, but chess was a more appealing game for me. I just found the pieces a lot more interesting. And once I learned the game, I won my first schools tournament and went on to play in a national event and performed quite well there. And then when I played in weekend tournaments against other players and saw the lifestyle that they were enjoying, that was a passion for me in chess. Chess, often events are very intense when you're taking place, but sometimes you have periods of free time in between events for reading, running, watching sports, rugby and cricket in particular. So yeah, use that time for events. Also, sometimes my wife was travelling with me to quite a lot of events, particularly in the earlier stage of my career, so that was great for me to have support and to keep family life going that way.
He is certainly a British hero, but he will be facing one of Poland's national heroes. There he is, Jan Krzysztof Duda, just 25 years old, became a grandmaster at 15 years old. Also the recipient of the Polish Gold Cross of Merit, which is the highest civilian award in Poland. And he got that award because he won the World Cup. He's also been the winner of the 2021 European Blitz Chess Championship. He's basically won a lot of things. And let's hear more from Jan Krzysztof Duda in his own words.
I'm Jan Krzysztof Duda. I'm grandmaster from Poland. The current rating 1 in this country. I've been playing chess for almost 20 years right now. I began playing chess because I gave a shot to many sport disciplines back in the day, but for some reason, and I can't really explain why, I fell in love in chess and quickly became quite decent in it, like the best in my age in Poland, and it was a lot of fun, so I decided to develop in it. The most glorifying moment in my career is, of course, winning the World Cup in Krasnaya Poliana 2021. Winning the World Cup is probably the biggest achievement of Polish chess, at least after World War II, and beating Magnus Carlsen, back then world champion, in the semi-finals, and then winning it in the finals against Sergei Karyakin was an exceptional feeling, and I wish I can repeat that.
Yeah, this is going to be a fantastic match, and we're only moments away now from this first encounter. And the rules, here they are. Well, it's 2 games they start off with of blitz chess at 3 minutes plus 2 seconds a move. And if it's 1-1 after those 2 games, it goes to
Armageddon. It will all be decided when white will have 5 minutes of the clock, black will have 4 minutes, but black will have draw odds. White needs to win, and there will be no time increment added. And we are seconds away, and one of the most important people in the room is Anastasia Sorokina, our international arbiter. She's one of the finest arbiters around, and there we see the 2 players, Mickey Adams with the white pieces, facing off against Polish fighter Jan Krzysztof Duda.
I'm so excited about this one. We've got one of the older players on the circuit, the legendary Mickey Adams, against one of the newer players, Mickey with the white pieces in the first game, and we are off with this Armageddon Championship Series here, and we have a French defence. And this is an opening which is becoming more popular at this moment in time. Mickey going for the exchange French. A bit of a surprise there. This has quite a drawish reputation. We have a symmetrical position, but Mickey is hoping to put a little bit of pressure on Duda, but not taking any risks.
No, he's not taking any risks, and he is taking inspiration from Magnus Carlsen. Magnus loves to play this particular variation with the white pieces, and it's all about good development. And there we can see the times, and we can also see hearts with the heart pulses pumping away. And just to kind of give you some context, if the players reach above 120, that means they are very stressed, and the heart will indicate that by flashing red.
Look at Mickey's heart rate. This is one of the lowest that we've seen. Mickey does a lot of running, maybe that's helping, but he's keeping his heart rate to a solid 70. He does seem very cool when he plays chess, and you can see the position at the moment. The pawn structure is symmetrical, which gives it that drawish reputation, but white has the better pieces. That last move, putting black into check. Black moves back with his king, and now Mickey can bring his last minor piece, the bishop, into the game. First of all, he swaps off rooks. So I think Mickey's approach here, Ivanka, I guess is just to get a small but stable advantage, and that's the way that Mickey plays quite often, small advantages.
That's why he's got the nickname of the Spider, because he weaves his opponents into this tangled web of a strategy, and this is the whole point. You know, the position isn't quite equal because white has control of a strong square, and there we see Mickey in his element, his heart rate actually going down to 69. And how is Duda going to untangle those pieces there on the left side of the board?
And Mickey certainly has a bit of pressure in this position. You look at the rook, you look at the bishop on the left-hand side. Duda has to lose another tempo there because that bishop was in a bit of trouble. So the next question is, can Mickey use his better pieces here to increase the advantage? He's got a small advantage, but it's only a small advantage at the moment. He might need to use his pawns very shortly.
There can be no success without a breakthrough, as they say in chess. And Mickey pausing, and he reroutes the knight, getting ready to solidify the center and prepare that pawn advance on the left side of the board. And in terms of clock times, it's all relatively even.
You can see the evaluation bar on the right-hand side thinks the position is pretty even, and Duda is now exchanging off some pieces. This is aimed at really getting rid of Mickey's most dangerous assets, that knight in the center of the board. Mickey has this reputation of the spider because you often don't really know what he's doing, and then all of a sudden the web has been weaved and he's overtaken your position. But I think Duda's doing a pretty good job here of maintaining about equality at this moment in time, about an even position.
And Duda certainly will be feeling uncomfortable in this type of position because he has a nickname as well. It's the Polish fighter, and it's because he plays very aggressively in a very creative way, and he's always looking to win every single game he plays. And now he retreats the knight, getting ready to perhaps initiate some more trades, or maybe getting ready to put the knight on the central squares.
And Mickey just using a pawn there. Maybe he's going to advance his pawns in front of his king or bring his king into the center. Let's remember that the king is a very precious piece. At the start of the game, in the opening, you don't want to expose your king because your opponent has a queen and the queen might be able to attack it. But the queens are off the board. We're getting nearer to the end part of the game, the ending. And at the end part of the game, the king has to move into the middle and use its presence. Duda centralising his pieces, and he's going to bring his rook into the game very shortly. So just holding the balance at the moment. Pretty even position so far.
It is pretty even, and we are going to see this clash of styles, whether Mickey can grind out a small advantage. There he's manoeuvred his knight, and he's getting ready to support the center. There it comes, and maybe a pawn push there on the left side of the board. But the question for Duda remains, how can he untangle his cluster of pieces there in the middle of the board?
It still seems quite nice of Mickey, this, actually. I mean, I would not like to be in Duda's shoes here. I've lost to Mickey far too many times, being an English player, and he's playing this move to try and kick Mickey away a little bit, improving his king Duda there by moving it forwards. Mickey hasn't found a way to break through at the moment, pushes the Harry pawn, my favourite pawn. If that pawn is able to go one more square, then I think black could be in a bit of trouble. But I expect the Gary pawn, the black pawn next to Duda's king, yes, he pushes it forwards, attacking the bishop, swapping off the H-pawn at some point in the future.
And take a look at Mickey's last move, retreating the bishop all the way back to its starting square. Mickey making sure that there is tension there on the side of the board. And, well, Duda is not creative for nothing. He decides to ruin his pawn structure there and go for piece activity.
Keep an eye on the clock as well, because Mickey has the advantage in time. He has 1 minute 23, Duda down to about 30 seconds. They are playing on increment. That means every move they play, they get a couple of extra seconds, but this still could be a problem later on. At the moment, though, Duda's won a pawn, but it's not a very good pawn. It's a double pawn on the right-hand side of the board. So I'm not really sure how to assess this anymore. I guess still roughly even, and the time in that case will be very important.
And we do have to remind everyone that the players are getting a 2-second increment, and Mickey has been surprised by Duda's approach and now taking a pause. That's Duda trying to anchor a piece onto the G3 square, and, well, Mickey says no, cannot have that, and instead develops the bishop out. And I like Duda's last move. He just simply, again, maintains the tension by keeping those pieces on the board. And it's Mickey that makes a trade and allows Duda to have the bishop pair.
I actually, again, now like Mickey's position because his pawn structure is better. Look at the pawns on the right-hand side of the board. White's pawns are looking after each other. They can go in hand, but black's pawns are what we call split. So they're a little bit weak there. On the other hand, black has the two bishops. At some point, they can play a very important role. It's heating up, though, with Duda getting down to under 20 seconds. And maybe this last idea was a bit of an offer of a draw, because if you repeat the position 3 times, it could be a draw. Mickey doesn't do that. I think he's playing for the win.
I think he is. And there we see Duda advancing pawns on the left side of the board. A breakthrough is incoming on the B line, and Mickey repeating the knight maneuver.
Bringing his knight back into the centre. Centralised knight is a good piece. I thought that knight would go to another square, but Duda creating counterplay on the left-hand side. When you've got the two bishops, you want to open up the position as much as you can for your bishops. And the rook now finds a good way in. Keep an eye on the time, though. Duda has to play quicker now. Mickey centralising his knight. Under 10 seconds now for Duda.
Yeah, under 10 seconds, and he has to make a move, and he retreats the bishop, attacking White's defending knight. Knight jumps in to a beautiful post, but it's not doing anything there.
Duda still holding a bit of the balance, but the evaluation bar preferring Mickey here on the right-hand side. It went slightly up there. Duda now trying to activate his king. Still pretty even. Duda's picking up the pace in a very clever way here. Can that knight start causing problems? It jumps into the position, threatening to take a pawn with check there. So the black king comes back and defends that pawn. Now, a bishop is exchanged. We have now opposite coloured bishops. This is very likely to be a draw now. Opposite coloured bishops generally head towards drawn situations.
Oh, and here we see an offer of a trade of rooks. If the rooks leave the board, that's it. The position will invariably be a draw. Mickey with a choice now, and he exchanges, and there you see handshake. The players have agreed a draw. Oh, Duda coming under some heavy strategical fire there from Mickey Adams.
Yeah, but I think both players kept their cool so well there, actually, because this is the first game of this series, this one, the European African series, and there's a lot of tension there. They're in the limelight. You could see their heart rate was pretty stable there most of the time, and Duda under that pressure, but he seemed very calm as well. So a very good quality game in general, I think, like high quality chess all round.
Yeah, very high quality. I have to agree with you there. And I also was very impressed by Duda's resourcefulness, the way that he traded pawns, took those unconventional decisions, and of course played at times with just 9 seconds left on the clock. He didn't lose his nerve.
Yeah, it could come down to who is the coolest cucumber, and we can see the opening here. A lot of people actually call this opening the groan variation because it's got a bit of a boring reputation. You go, oh no, not the exchange French groan. But Mickey played this to try and get a very safe advantage, which he did get. He got a little advantage. In chess, we call it a little nibble. You nibble away at your opponent's position. But Duda was up for the challenge, and we can see here going into the ending, Mickey had a nice position, but Duda opening up that area of the board, Jovanka.
Yeah, getting counterplay. And just take a look at the clock. I mean, he did this with only 10 seconds left on the clock. And it was very impressive play, but from both sides, I have to say, with Mickey defending as well against this activity.
That's right, so a tough game to get us started there. And let's remember, Duda has the advantage of the white pieces after this, and the reason it was a draw is because the rooks are getting exchanged, and that just leaves the bishops. But the bishops are moving on opposite colours, so they can never have contact with each other. It was actually ex-world champion Boris Spassky, who famously played Bobby Fischer for the World Championships in '72, that said when he got divorced, it was like him and his wife were two opposite coloured bishops. They were just moving on opposite colour squares, and that's why a draw is agreed. But we're getting now closer to the second game, Jovanka.
Yes, and of course it will be Jan Krzysztof Duda who has the white pieces, and he has a completely different style to Michael Adams. Jan Krzysztof Duda plays usually in an energetic way. He likes to throw the pieces up the board, and we'll see how Michael Adams can survive the opening stage.
26 seconds to go, and Duda is a really aggressive attacker normally, but Mickey's openings, the start of the game, this is an area of the game you have to prepare, you have to work on, because there are set ways you start the game are quite rock solid. They've got a good reputation. Can Duda with the white pieces, which is like having the serve in tennis, get anything against Mickey's solid openings? We'll find out.
We will find out, and Duda, of course, can open with almost anything. He's very versatile, and he chooses to open with the queen's pawn. And what will Mickey play? Is it going to be a... Oh, he's throwing in a check. This is a favorite of Mickey. He likes to handle the Catalan by playing in a very natural way. Now he's challenging the center with a pawn, and whereas Duda just developing his knight. And next move will be getting the king to safety, and the white rook will probably come to the half-open line.
So Duda has actually sacrificed a bit of a pawn there. You see Mickey's grabbed the pawn, but this is very standard stuff for this opening. White gains the centre in return, and that black pawn that's in White's area of the board can often be picked off, because it's very hard to defend that one. So it's only a temporary sacrifice, this one. Mickey now, with that queen move, maybe getting ready to push the pawn in front of it, making more exchanges, which he does. He pushes that pawn forwards. He's trying to liquidate pawns off the board and pieces off the board to get a draw. Remember, if it's a draw, it goes to Armageddon. Is this still in Mickey's opening repertoire,
Absolutely.
do we think?
Absolutely. Mickey is in preparation because he's barely used any time on the clock. And he's liberated his light squared bishop, which is often a problem when facing this particular variation with the black pieces. And, well, big question for Mickey's queen. Where's it going to go? Is it going to remain in the center? Okay, it takes 2 steps back. It's all going to be about the center, and it's all going to be whether White can do something with a superb bishop that White has.
I have to say, though, I am really I think I'm agreeing with evaluation bar, which is a little bit in White's favour here. If you compare the pieces, White's bishop in front of his king. This is a fianchetto bishop. When you have it crossing the board like this is a brilliant piece, and this is one of the reasons that white plays this opening. That bishop in front of the white king, it increases, it has all that pressure all the way along the diagonal for the rest of the game. Black's bishop is not really hitting anything on the other side of the board, so this could be a long-term problem for Mickey with the black pieces here.
Well, you can see by the heart rates that Mickey's has actually increased to 79. It was a calm 76 before, 70 before that. But okay, Duda now mobilizing the rooks. The central lines are all open, so Mickey also places his rook there, attacks the queen. Queen is probably going to step 2 squares along the diagonal, and there she comes. And of course, there is definitely some pressure against black's c7 pawn.
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky for Mickey, because if you move that pawn, which is on c7, which the white queen is attacking diagonally, you give the white knight a fantastic square to move into. So, I don't know, if I was black here, I'd probably try to move my bishop to get rid of white's knight and then move that pawn. Mickey's got to find a way to consolidate this position. He's moved his knight into the middle there, instead offering an exchange of pieces.
And yeah, it was a nice idea by Mickey, just blocking the diagonal, and Duda amping up the pressure by offering an exchange of queens. And Mickey coolly says yes. But take a look at all that tension that's building in the center. Oh, I'm not really liking Mickey's position. I think Duda has played this exceptionally well.
He has, and the other problem that Mickey has is that his pawns on the left-hand side of the board, what kind of square are they on? They're on the light squares, the white squares, and Duda has a light square bishop to attack them.
And you know, when you start advancing pawns, you always have to be aware of the weak squares that they leave behind. And certainly there is a weak square on b6 and b7, because that knight on d3, well, it's going places.
Yeah, that knight is rerouting over to the left-hand side to start targeting those pawns, and the base of the pawn structure on the left-hand side is where that knight is going to. And it's a bit of a miserable position for Mickey here, because he's got to defend that pawn and he's tied down. He's got a very nice knight in the middle of the board, black does, but white can kick this knight away with a pawn move at the right time. He's moving that knight back, maybe getting ready to reroute it to another square there.
Oh, but here comes the knight, attacking the bishop, attacking the pawn, and well, the bar absolutely loving white's position, and you can see it's moved up quite a solid amount. And there you see Mickey being forced to miserably defend that pawn with his rook. It's not the best use of resources, but okay, the players are now reaching the 1 minute mark. Anything can happen. It's all about whether Mickey can hold the position. Oh!
Big tactic there, which I think Mickey missed, and the point was black could not capture that knight because the white rook would have come all the way down, giving check and ending the game. So Duda has won a pawn, Jovanka, and it looks like a very healthy pawn.
Yeah, he certainly stole that pawn, and still that knight is resplendent there on its square, and black's king is far away from the action. I mean, the only compensation that black has is that black's rook now is pretty mobile.
The problem is, at this level, with two great players, one pawn is enough to win the game, and white has that extra pawn. White's also got this lovely knight. This knight jumping backwards and forwards into the position, out of the position, has been such a nuisance to Mickey. Mickey gives his king now a bit of breathing space. The black king now has the square in front of it. It can move forwards too. And Duda under a minute there. Mickey, though, also quite short of time. Mickey's got to rely on some tricks here to hold this position. It looks tough at the moment for black.
Yeah, it's going to be all about piece activity. You can make a big nuisance of yourself if you have active pieces on the board. And both players, well, Duda hovering under the 30-second mark, whereas Mickey 39 seconds. And can Duda hold his nerves? Can Mickey initiate chaos? And there you see Duda taking some defensive action, defending the B pawn.
And Mickey attacking that rook, so he keeps the B pawn, and he does come down, and he's won a pawn back there. Mickey takes the pawn in white's position, and now Duda targeting another pawn. Maybe this is Duda's plan all along, to win that black pawn on the left-hand side and then push the furthest white pawn all the way down to the end of the board, becoming queen. Mickey having a big think here, and he moves his bishop to a very strange square, but that's at least targeting one of white's pawns.
Yeah, but Duda says no, you can't have that pawn. Instead, defending it, and still the attack on that very important A pawn remains. And okay, Mickey moving his king, I'm not quite sure what that's doing, but okay, both players, well, they are under 15 seconds, and Duda taking precautionary measures. I mean, he's just overprotecting all of his pieces.
The only chance I think that Mickey has is the white knight. The white knight is stranded at the moment, but Duda's playing quite carefully to get that back in the game. Mickey, though, creating a bit of counterplay against white's kingside. The evaluation bar suddenly saying that Mickey has some chances here.
And this is why, because the knight is coming in, and Duda has to give up material. Ooh, okay, Duda.
Can Mickey win this one?
It's going to be difficult, but he'll try. What a turnaround.
Look at how quick he's moving. Mickey is one of the oldest players, and he's moving at the speed of light, but he has the advantage of this rook. The one thing that's a bit of a problem, though, is that white pawn. The white pawn is a long way down the board, but I'm really liking, at the moment, Mickey's position, and he might win that pawn. Oh no, there's a horrible trick. Oh,
blundered it. He took his eye off that pawn, and it's gone. Oh, and that's it. It's curtains, and well, Mickey's going to lose on time, but his position was falling apart. He could not prevent the advance of that A pawn. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I know that commentators aren't supposed to be biased, but we do know Mickey very well. He is a legend of English chess, and he lost that game. Duda played a very nice game there to advance, but let's remember it's double elimination, so Mickey's not out yet. He's got another chance. He has to win his next match, though.
He does have to win in order to survive, but I have to say, Duda really played a great game. You know, he spotted those tactical opportunities. He put Mickey under pressure from the get-go, and overall, I know, you know, Mickey fought back. Overall, I think it was a fair result that Duda won.
Yeah, I mean, I feel a bit sorry for Mickey there, because he held in the game for so long. And let's have a look at some highlights. It was looking a bit grim here. I mean, Mickey did win a pawn back, but he's got an issue with that pawn over on the other side of the board, because the white knight and the white bishop are attacking it, and he can't defend it adequately. But it turned around after that, didn't it, when Mickey managed to get the rook. He managed to get
here is the critical moment. You know, he gets his knight to give an almost deadly check to the white king, and here's the point where it was looking like it would head into a draw. The rook is keeping an eye on the valuable A pawn, and all Mickey needed to do was introduce his king into the game. But here it comes. Yeah, his rook is attacked. He needs to move.
Yeah, and around there, actually, I thought Mickey even had winning chances, because if he could get his king around towards that pawn, but this is where it went wrong. It looks like Mickey's going to win the pawn, but a brilliant move from Duda, breaking the range of the black rook and that pawn, and that means there's no stopping the white pawn from really getting to the other end of the board, and that white pawn, if it becomes a queen, it wins the game, and that was the major problem in that situation. So tough luck for Mickey there, and I think we are very shortly going to get an interview, and we might have that interview now with Mickey Adams.
Hi, Michael. How do you feel about the game?
Yeah, it came to a bit of a sad end. I actually had a reasonable position at the end, but yeah, I just blundered something at the end when we only had a few seconds left, so it's the way it goes, yeah.
How did you feel after the first game?
Yeah, it's quite intense. 2 games, very high stakes, and yeah, first game I thought I played quite well, and I had a little bit of pressure. A draw was okay. Second game, I had a bad position, but I fought a bit. But in general, I thought I played okay. But it's just difficult. A very strong opponent, and yeah, I couldn't afford to blunder that.
How did you prepare for this tournament?
I spent some time, but somehow didn't really predict too well what was going to happen. So, yeah, I mean, it's not easy. I think everyone looks to surprise their opponent anyway, so it's hard to predict exactly which openings, and even then, you only get a few moves and more general strategy, I think, in the opening than particular preparation.
I know it's tough after this first match, but what do you think about this tournament? How do you like the format in general?
No, it's a very tough format, but of course it's very challenging, but it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, okay, I'm not happy that I'm lost, but I'm not so unhappy with the way I played.
Okay, and last question, how do you like Berlin?
Yeah, no, I like Berlin, very nice. It's a very nice city and beautiful weather at the moment, so it's great for walking around.
Okay, thank you so much. So we will go back to the studio to Simon and Jovanka.
Thank you, Sonia. And it's a great pleasure to have with us in the studio Jan Krzysztof Duda. You just defeated Mickey Adams. It got quite hectic there in the final, but talk us through your feelings in the first game.
Yeah, I think the match was very stressful. My opponent is, of course, a very known player and extremely strong technician. So I'm happy I managed to win this match finally, but I'm not proud about the style of it.
And the first game was an exchange French. Could you expect that, to have an exchange French, or was that a bit of a surprise for you, the way the opening went there?
Yeah, I didn't quite expect the exchange French, to be honest, but yeah, but Mickey played had played like this before, so you know, in the exchange French, I thought that I would hold my own without much knowledge. So at some point, I think I got. I always had, I mean, my pawn structure was kind of weak, but I had two bishops, so it was always at least partial compensation. At some point, maybe I was a bit worse, but overall, I think the game was reasonably good.
You got down to 10 seconds quite a few times in that game. Were you ever stressed, or did you think it was under control?
Yeah, I all the time get 10 seconds, unfortunately, so I'm kind of used to it. I was more stressed, of course, in the second game. In the first one, I thought, you know, the position is so stable and relatively easy to play that it doesn't really matter.
And the second game, it looked like you were doing great from the opening. You had comfortable pressure. You won a pawn. And then what happened?
Yes, to be honest, I think my opponent blundered the pawn on b7, and after that, I consider my position to be, you know, like technical win, but it's never easy, especially in blitz. And once I got grip on this a6 pawn, I thought that with my a5 passer it should be more or less trivial, to be honest. But then somehow I just forgot that after knight takes a6 there is an 86 move, and actually my pieces are kind of stuck. Now I can. No, bishop was on b1. Okay, doesn't matter. Anyway, I sort of panicked after this move, and of course, I mean, you know, to be like exchanged down for no reason wasn't that great. And it's pity actually, because during the game I was kind of proud of this game, but now I'm of course not. Like, it was just pure luck that I managed to win that one.
And you won in the end. I mean, bit of an interesting experience. How did you find the studio and all the lights? And is it a bit different to what you're used to?
Yeah, it's very different, of course, and kind of stressful at first. But now I think it was the most difficult. I will get more used to it in the future.
You can relax now. And you know, I just want to ask you about Mickey Adams. I mean, he is a bit of a legend of the game, especially for us English players. And you must be a bit of a fan as well as of his play?
Yeah, I mean, of course, he has been like always in the top, one of the very best players in the world. I think we have played only once in classical chess. I was a young aspiring grandmaster back then, but lost with white in Bundesliga many years ago. And also we played one game online, which actually I won. So we haven't played that much against each other. But it's always nice, you know, to face such a legend. Of course, I mean, blitz should be like the best format for me against him, of course. But yeah, but still, it was anything but easy.
Yeah, And looking ahead, you'll be playing either the winner of the match between Vincent Kaimer or Alexander Donchenko. Can I put you on the spot and ask you, which one would you prefer to play against?
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. These young German guys are very tough and kind of similar to each other. I think I've lost many games against Vincent for no particular reason. I think I underestimated him too many times, but I hope it won't happen again. So I'm looking forward to the fight and some exciting chess.
Thank you very much for joining us in the studio, and good luck in your next games.
Thank you.
Thanks. The FIDE Online Arena hosts rated tournaments and games 24 hours per day. Join the arena and you'll get a FIDE ID, profile on FIDE.com, and access to pro chess community, official online ratings and titles, all recognized by the International Chess Federation, prize money tournaments, and so much more. So play official games at chessarena.com.
And welcome back to, well, we're very shortly going to see the second match of the day. And it's going to be another very exciting matchup between two young German players. We have Vincent Kaimer against Alexander Donchenko. And, they're both brilliant players, and they've played each other a lot of times, being from the same country. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be quick. And German supporters at home must be very excited about this one and happy.
Absolutely, because here is one of Germany's biggest talents, Vincent Kaimer, just 18 years old. Became a professional chess player last year. He became grandmaster at 14 years old, a rating of 2669, and second place at the World Rapid Championship in 2022. Very strong talent. And let's hear more from Vincent Kaimer in his own words.
My name is Vincent Kaimer. I'm a German chess grandmaster from Germany, and I'm 18 years old. I started playing chess when I was around 5 years old, which means that I've been playing chess about 13 years by now. And for me, it started more or less as just seeing a chessboard, and I was curious as to what it is, and I, asked my parents to teach me the rules, and that's basically how it started. I think that it is like a very diverse game, so there's a lot of new things to explore. Then I will go with the Grand Chess Open 2018 when I was 13 years old, and in the last round I was playing for the tournament on the same stage as Magnus Carlsen, Fabiano Caruana, and a lot of other extremely strong top players, and I managed to win the game and the tournament, which really was a special moment for me.
Yeah, a great player and one of the most talented players around at the moment. But his opponent is also someone quite special. It's Alexander Donchenko. He was a grandmaster at the age of 16 years old, and he's only 25 years old now. He's the third strongest chess player in Germany, and he got into this event by winning the Armageddon online qualifier. And let's hear a bit more about him in his own words.
I'm Grandmaster Alexander Donchenko from Germany. I've been playing chess in tournaments for 17 years. I've known how to play chess almost my entire life. I was introduced to it by my grandmother, one of the many people in my family who plays chess. It was probably when I was around 4 years old, but I don't even remember it anymore. Basically, ever since I started playing tournaments, my whole life has been dedicated to it, and I knew very early on that I tried to make it my profession as well. The thing that attracts me most to it is the competitiveness, that it's a very fair, very complicated fight between two people on a mental level. It is, let's say, a game with very clear rules, and at the same time there's infinite possibilities to play, and to get that high when you win a good game, and to know that you put in a lot of mental effort, and that really pays off. I'm competitive, and I think it's a very good trait to have.
Well, we'll see whether his competitive instincts bear well in this tournament. We are less than a minute away from the start of play. Oh, this one is going to be incredibly exciting. Both players have very similar style.
That's right. And it's the battle of the Germans here, and they're both young. They're both got they haven't got the same experience as Mickey, but they've got a lot of ambition, and this would be a great event to qualify in. Who's going to get it? We'll have to wait and see. With the white pieces, and the advantage in this game of those white pieces is Vincent. He's coached by the legendary Peter Lecco, who is a very positional kind of approach to the game, has a positional approach to the game, and I would say this is the way that Vincent normally approaches his games, but obviously great at tactics as well.
Yeah, absolutely good all-round player. And Alexander Donchenko, if I were to say anything, I think he's stronger with the white pieces, but of course still very much exceptional with the black pieces as well. And Vincent Kaimer opening up with the queen's pawn, and it's looking like Donchenko means business. What is he gonna play? Is he gonna play it into a Grunfeld? Nope, Grunfeld has not been allowed. The d-pawn cannot move 2 squares forward. So we are going to see some aggressive stuff from the German number 3.
Yeah, this last move by Donchenko is a little bit of a surprise. It's not the normal move that's played here. And he's now gone into, well, what we call a Grunfeld. So he has gone into a Grunfeld. Commentator's curse. As soon as you say it's not going to be a Grunfeld, it goes into it. And obviously that's a name for another setup that you can adopt at the start of the game. There's something like 1,600 different setups you can play at the start. You have to know them pretty much all quite well at this level. And with that last move, Black's preparing to push his pawn in the middle of the board. The approach that Vincent's gone for is a very positional approach. I know it's favoured by a good friend of mine, Keith Arkell of England. He loves playing this kind of structure as white. Again, relying on that bishop in front of white's king. And that bishop was really the piece that won the game for Duda. Alexander has a similar bishop, but it's blocked in by his own pawn at the moment. And white has a space advantage of anchor as well.
Yes, white certainly does have a space advantage, and that's why you see black chipping away at the center by advancing his pawn. Now, those 2 knights there on the left side, they don't make a great impression, but black's knights do have the possibility to jump around, and they will relocate and annoy the white pawn structure.
Jump up, jump up.
Jump around.
Jump around.
Yeah. And talking about jumping up, you can see Vincent Kaimer's heart rate pulsing. It's on 125, and it's in the red zone.
Yeah, this is a lot higher. Both actually heart rates are a lot higher than the last match, and it did seem that Mickey and Duda in the last match were especially calm. 125, I mean, I still think that's not too bad at this very fast and exciting level. You see the black knights, they are jumping around, but black has a bit of a worse pawn structure here. Again, 2 ways to evaluate the position: pieces and pawns. The pawns are like your skeleton, the pieces are like your organs. I like black's pieces, but I don't like black's pawns. The evaluation bar says it's even, and it does seem pretty close at the moment here.
Yeah, but there is a threat with black's last move. You know, he did step forward with the queen, attacking the pawn there on the b4 square, and that's why Vincent slides the rook across to defend it. And the question for Alexander, how is he going to develop his light square bishop? Where is it going to go? And instead he says, you know what, it's going to stay at home. I'm just going to open up the situation on the left side of the board.
I actually really like that move. That move is making sure that white can't advance too far in that way. It gets rid of one of Alexander's weak pawns. That was just one of the 2 weak pawns. On the other side, maybe I thought actually Vincent could have pushed that pawn, but he's opening up his rook. If you look at the white rook, that has an open line. That's where rooks belong, on open lines. Black's rook also has an open line, so still in the balance here, I'd say.
And, well, it definitely in the balance, Simon, but it's a question of what you're going to do. And, well, Vincent's last move doesn't make a whole lot of sense. He has to develop his dark square bishop. He has to find a way to connect the 2 rooks. And Alexander, perhaps also surprised by Vincent's move, is taking a pause. He's going to think about perhaps developing the light square bishop.
I think this is the problem of both sides. They got one more minor piece, which is a knight or bishop. We call these minor pieces that they need to develop. Alexander's bought his bishop out, but where's Vincent going to bring his bishop? You need all your pieces playing a part in the game. You could, okay, the bishop just sneaks back. The white knight went to an aggressive square there. Another thing to keep an eye on is the time. Vincent is 30 seconds below Alexander. That could be an important factor. The heart rates, they're nearly symmetrical. Are they using the same machine, Jovanka? They're wired into the same mechanism there. But this is maybe an indication of how the game is going. Very tense, very close. The last move threatens that knight, though.
It does threaten the knight, and tell you something, Simon, there's something that's not close, and it's the clock times. There we can see Alexander Donchenko with a big time advantage, but he's taking a pause. He mustn't let that lead slip. And Vincent's heart rate going up to 131. Ooh, but that move, the queen plants herself on a potentially vulnerable square.
But it is that bishop next to white's queen, which I'm worried about for Vincent. That bishop, get out of bed, my friend. It's too late in the day for you being having a lay-in there. It's sleeping there, and it needs to get into the game. But black's knights kind of dominate that bishop. So what's he done? He's moved his rook to attack the other bishop. And here we see the black pawn kicking away the white knight. I like this move. The white knight has to now retreat. And Vincent's got to speed up now. He's down to 30 seconds. But Donchenko's pieces, they're really starting to coordinate so well together here.
They're coming to life. I mean, it's very difficult to even suggest a move. And that's why Vincent just gets that rook out of the firing line. And still, it's under attack. And he has to retreat that rook to where it started from. But oh, look at that. That rook is on the same diagonal as the bishop. Can there be any form of tactics? And Donchenko just says, you know what? I'm just not going to even bother to calculate. I'm going to pile up the pressure on the A-pawn. Whoa, everything is happening.
Yeah, I mean, again, just look at the pieces here. Black's pieces are clearly much more active than white's pieces. White's pieces, they're all going back to bed. I think that knight was jealous of the bishop and thought, I'm going to join you in bed there. But this is not a good plan. You need to activate. And what's happened here? Oh, my words, I think Donchenko has blundered here. He's allowed Vincent to capture two knights for the rook. A big, big mistake there by Donchenko. And Vincent now has the material lead here, Jovanka. That was a major mistake.
Yeah, big slip up there from the German number 3. But still, the position is relatively even. There's lots of dynamic opportunity for both sides. It's just going to be about the clock management. And, oh, what you doing there? That rook is vulnerable.
I think Donchenko is very annoyed that he allowed that tactic, because really that should be a winning material advantage. But the time situation is another key factor that could make this conversion a bit difficult for Vincent. That rook not looking so stupid now. It's causing some problems. The evaluation bar, though.
But look, it's so being attacked left, right and centre. And there's just no coordination with black's pieces at all. Those two rooks, they need to be lined up together. And there you go. Where is that rook going to go? It's going to go all the way back to the B8 square. It's going to get out of dodge quickly. And, ooh, Donchenko now only 18 seconds. And Vincent Kaimer, well, 12 seconds. And, oh, my goodness me. Well, we thought all the action was happening on the left. It was, in fact, happening on the right. There you see Vincent stealing a pawn.
It just shows you how tense chess is at this time limit, because Donchenko had played a great game from the opening, but in the middle game he played one mistake, and those two white knights, they're just jumping around. Jump up and get down. That is the theme of this game. They are causing a lot of pain to black's house there, and that pawn is about to support the white knight to jump towards black's king. The black king is just too exposed.
Okay, I'm expecting the queen to come to the h6 square and weave a mating net. Oh, it doesn't go there. Instead, it offers a trade of queens. Oh, finally it gets there. And, okay, queen takes pawn.
So black is now material up, but look at black's king. It's getting chased around everywhere, and it's still got to be broken down, but it's king safety. The white knight and the queen, they coordinate so well together, and the white queen is now threatening to come all the way in with a check. look at the clock, though. The clock is key, and he comes down with checkmate.
Checkmate, and there you can see the king on the red square. It's toppled over. It's, well, game over for the black king. White wins.
That was a tense game. I mean, even at the end there, Jovanka, it seemed like Donchenko caused some problems, but it really was that one blunder that turned the tide. And this is one thing about chess. It's unlike, I think, any other game or sport. And you can see there, I think it was actually Vincent who won that game, and not Donchenko. So Vincent Kaimer did win that game. But you can see in chess, it's such a tense, it's so tense. You can play a perfect game for 50 moves. You make one little mistake and you lose. You lose the game, you lose the prize money, and you can't pay your rent. I've been there before.
Chess is brutal at times, and that is the nature of the game. But it was Vincent Kaimer that netted the point, and here we can see the big blunder that Simon is referring to. You know, Vincent Kaimer was in trouble, but after this move, he is in trouble no longer, and his pieces just start springing forward.
Yeah, that was the big mistake, really. After that, White got the 2 knights for the rook, and you can see White's knights in the middle of the game. We had some more exchanges here, but this actually only helped Vincent because Black's king was now completely naked, and there the White knight jumps towards the Black king, and you can see very shortly that knight is just hopping its way gradually into the position to attack the Black king and to give checkmate.
Yeah, and all this happened when the players just had seconds left on the clock. And there we can see Vincent Kaimer 1 point ahead of Donchenko.
That's right, and we actually saw checkmate on the board as well, which is pretty rare. In this position, White starts the attack, and the White queen decimates the protection of Black's king. There goes the pawns, the bodyguards of Black's king, and now the knight jumps in, and, well, Donchenko's so short a time, and he tries to defend the position. The White queen snakes its way around now, and this was the final mistake. Checkmate on the board. What a beautiful finish there.
It was a beautiful finish, but the players, they had seconds left, and it's all about holding the nerve. And now Donchenko, playing with the white pieces, will be in a must-win situation if he wants to take the match to Armageddon. If not, he gets demoted to the losers bracket.
And no one wants to be in the losers bracket, do they? No, they don't. But you have to deal with it, and that's what makes it exciting, this double elimination. But they're only 30 seconds away now, and well, at least he knows what he's got to do. He's got to win with the white pieces. He's got to go aggressive, and he's got to avoid blundering pieces in this one.
Absolutely. Don't let that clock tick down. That's the best advice that you can get here when it comes to the Armageddon. And Donchenko usually opens with the queen's pawn. He's quite a solid strategic player. How will he cope in this must-win situation?
Well, let's see. I don't think there's any point changing his openings too much at the start of the game, so he might as well stick to what he knows. And he changes it a little bit, the English opening, maybe because there's so many English players so far here. Well, one. It's not that many, is it? English commentators and players, I should say. And this is a very standard setup here from White. It has a bit of a positional kind of reputation. I don't know if this is a bit too passive from White. Could White have picked a bit more of an aggressive opening, meaning, you know, because he needs to win this game. Black gives up a bishop, but now doubles White's pawns. And the opening we see here, Jovanka, I actually think it featured quite prominently in the World Championship match between Kasparov and Karpov in Seville in the 1980s. And I know this because I was there seconding Kasparov in 1980. That's how old I am. That is actually a little fib. I'm not that old, just in case you're wondering. But I have actually played this opening. I've played this position with the white pieces myself. And it's fairly even, as the evaluation bar is saying. But I like White's bishop again in these kind of structures, and that rook also gaining a nice open line there.
Yeah, and the question is still very much on Vincent. How is he going to develop his queenside pieces? And we see Donchenko, his heart rate is calm, 113, and he's just quietly maneuvering the knights towards the center. And Vincent, how is he going to connect his forces? Because for the pieces to work well, they need to harmonize together. And there you go. He develops the bishop to attack the queen. queen must come out. But white has a threat on the board of rook takes pawn.
I wonder if he's just going to... Yeah, I thought this was possible. And now is black going to give up that bishop? No, he brings it all the way back. So very interesting strategy from Vincent there. He moved his bishop out. He attacked the queen. And he's basically saying, oh, that pawn move that Donchenko played, that pawn move, well, was a little bit bad for white's position. And the white knight comes back here. I don't know. I'm not sure if that was a good or bad idea.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I mean, it did provoke a weakness, as you say, but at the same time, it cost him time, and time is so important in chess. And now, well, Vincent Kaimer making a very committal move, and this is why Donchenko is thinking, are there any tactical possibilities along the diagonal? Well, he pushes forward with the f-pawn, sets up a threat of bishop takes knight, and Vincent calmly defends this.
And white now going for it. This is exactly what Alexander needs to play. He must win this game. And that last move I like greatly. That pawn can move again and it will open up black's position. This is quite thematic for this. Then the two white bishops could start to play. So Vincent now's got to think, how do you deal with that last pawn move from Alexander? And there's no obvious way I can see. So he moves his knight to the edge of the board, offering the exchange of bishops, which has to be accepted. So we see the bishops come off. But now Alexander can push that pawn again, really opening things up, and he does. It's getting very exciting now, Jovanka. The black king is in some danger, I feel.
It's in big danger because it's not just a pawn that's attacking the black king. It's also going to be a queen, and it's going to be backed up by the bishop and a rook in an ideal world. So, Vincent now in deep thought. How is he going to neutralize this attack? One thing he cannot do is he cannot open lines.
Yeah, but I don't think he can stop opening lines. I mean, white's king looks quite exposed, but now black has to open up his own king. So it's whose pieces are in the best position. And Jovanka very cleverly pointed out that the white queen can swing in to get nearer the black king, but also the white knight can get nearer to the black king, either coming to the center or behind the white pawn. The white bishop has potential, but I like this move. Just throw the queen straight into the position. Get it as near to the black king as you can and attack. Because checkmate is what ends the game.
Yeah, I also like this move as well. And I'm fully expecting that queen to be joined by a knight, as you've indicated, and the bishop. Come on, invite everyone to the party. So first of all, Donchenko kicks away the black knight. Not sure about that move, as that move positively encourages the knight to move from where it wasn't particularly useful to a square where it can defend the black king.
Yeah, I like what Vincent's done because he realizes that his own king is in trouble, so he's brought over some bodyguards. That black knight is moving closer to help the black king up. Get the knight near your king. It can help protect it, but I still very much like white's position. Move that knight, Alexander. Get the white knight out of the way, because then your rook is opened up as well. Open the big rook on that big file. So that's what I'd do, that move, without thinking here. But he's thinking for something better. There could be an option, but another problem, under a minute, 58 seconds.
And we did see the last time they got down to seconds, well, that was when the panic ensued and mistakes were made. Okay, Donchenko now under 1 minute, and he does centralize the knight. That knight is primed to come to squares like f6 and just blast open the black king.
I love that move. He's obviously listening to me, which is always a good idea. And now Vincent has a big threat to deal with. White is threatening to move his queen and take the black pawn with check, because the white rook next to the white king, where's that pointing? White's rook is pointing all the way up the board with the queen, threatening that pawn. And this is a very dangerous position, and the time is ticking. Vincent does not look happy as well. His heart rate is going up. Is there any good news for Vincent? Well, he won the first game at least.
Yeah, and there you can see Vincent. He seems to be in panic mode. He has one eye on the clock, another eye on his board. He needs to focus. He's now only got 14 seconds. Make a move. Come on, make a defensive move. You only got 10 seconds. You can't have a deep think. Okay, Oh,
what is that?
And he just gives up the pawn on f7.
Wow, I just didn't think that was possible, Ivanka. Queen takes pawn, check. The king is now in a cage in the corner. Surely this can't be a good defensive idea by Vincent. I know Black's knights are defending, but White has won a pawn and is attacking. Can Alexander find a killer blow here? I mean, you could try even moving the knight into the position. That is a little bit flash, but does it work?
I love it. Because then you introduce a new piece into the attack, and that's the g-pawn. Oh, my goodness me. Well, he retreats his queen, solidifies that extra pawn, and Donchenko reverts back to what he knows best, keeping the position solid and stable.
Vincent offering the exchange of queens, quite a wise idea, even though he's a pawn down. Get the queens off the board because your king is in more danger, and I bet he's really relieved to get rid of White's most aggressive attacking piece. Donchenko is still doing well here with the extra pawn, with his rook being able to come over, but he hasn't lost the queen, but he's exchanged that one off. It should be good for Donchenko, but he must be thinking with his clock also getting low. Look at the times, Ivanka. They're so low here.
I know, 7 seconds for Donchenko, 4 seconds for Vincent. Vincent just making the moves as quickly as they come, but they don't have too much time. And also take a look at the heart rates. Both players in the panic zone. Oh, again. Come on.
He's lost on time.
Oh,
my words. Can you Adam and Eve it? I can't believe it.
No.
He lost on time. He completely fell apart there. He was doing so well. Vincent wins the second game. He just froze there in a great position, and the pressure got to him.
Yeah. Oh, what a tense match that was. Oh, I mean, chess really is cruel at times. And here, it was the clock that was a huge factor in the game. Donchenko playing an excellent game from start to finish. And in the end, the clock is his downfall.
It's a cruel game. It's a cruel game sometimes. I was going to say that's why we love it, but I don't love it for its cruelness. And, well, we can see here that everything was going so well for White. The White Queen is getting near to the Black King. Vincent got so short a time. He only had 10 seconds left, and his king was getting slaughtered. I don't know how he survived that. And we can now look at this big move that happened here. The White Queen, in a moment, dives in, and it wins a pawn. But it also gives the Black King a very big check, and the Black King can't take that queen because it's defended. The White Queen backed up by the White Rook. And around this point, I just assumed it'd be Armageddon. I thought, you know, we're bound to get Armageddon today.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen.
No, I mean, it was very unfortunate. And here we can see a situation where everything is lined up very nicely for Donchenko, but he's just indecisive. And you see him hesitating to retreat the knight. He's making long moves that are a little bit impractical when you don't have much time. And there it is. He's just thinking he can't make up his mind. And he doesn't make that last rook move.
Yeah, the hesitation there at the end, that was just key to the result of that one. And it was a very, very exciting game. But we ended up with Vincent winning at the battle of the two German players. And I think we're shortly obviously going to hear from the loser of that one, and we'll see what went wrong in that second game, I think. But first of all, I mean, I don't know, I mean, it would be a bit depressing if I lost that one on time there. But time, very important part of the game.
It is of the essence. I mean, it was a very heartbreaking moment for Alexander Donchenko, but we also have to throw our just tip our hats off to Vincent Kaimer for having stayed in the game and managed to find the resources to not only surprise Alexander, but also to net home the point. We'll hear more from Alexander as we have Sonia, who has an interview with him.
Hi, Alex. I'm so sorry for this tough match. How do you feel?
It's pretty disappointing to actually play two very good games and then in one game blunder in one move and in the other just blunder on the clock.
Okay, I see. Like, how did you prepare for this tournament?
I think my biggest preparation was playing a few games with Jordan before the games today. I think it actually helped. I played some relatively high quality chess. Unfortunately, I didn't pay, let's say, attention, and when you're not that sharp in blitz games, it just comes back to bite you.
It it's a tough question, but how do you like this tournament so far? Like, how do you like the format? Let's say it like this.
I'd say it's very punishing. All that matters is the result of basically a single blitz game, and it is what it is. You either win it or you lose it. It's I don't know. Right now I don't like it, but my fortunes might change.
Okay, last question. How do you like Berlin?
I'm not a big fan of large cities in general, so I prefer it more peace and quiet. But let's say the hotel is very nice. I walked around a little bit, and it's a beautiful city, but it's just not exactly my cup of tea. Maybe again, if I win a match or two, all of a sudden my view might change.
Okay, thank you so much, and good luck for the next round. So back to the studio to Ivanka and Simon.
Well, we're lucky to have the winner of that match, the all-German clash, Vincent Kaimer, here. And Vincent, I mean, 2 exciting games. And do you want to talk us through the first game, first of all? It seemed like it went kind of your way.
Yeah, I mean, I won the game, but I wasn't feeling so confident the whole game. I mean, first of all, he kind of surprised me by playing, well, the King's Indian then turned into a Grunfeld structure. And then, yeah, when he had this, I mean, we got to the structure where he had this pawn on c6, which kind of really annoys me because it just restricts my knight on c3. In exchange, his knights on b6 and c4 were kind of dodgy, and I think then he just must have blundered when playing queen e7. Before that, I was absolutely not sure whether I even had enough for equality. So, of course, that was very fortunate that he played queen e7 there. And then in the second game, yeah, I think I underestimated the attack because I just saw everything with d4, knight e6, and after knight d4 I thought I can just play queen d7 and missed that he just probably rook f7 and g6 is completely losing for me. And then I had to play this knight f8 move, which, I mean, it's clear that after this I'm much worse. I still thought I had some chances, and then, of course, yeah, I mean, him losing on time, I think still in the last position, he should be much better, maybe winning, I don't know, but I still had some chances to fight, but of course, yeah, it would have been a very tough defense.
Yeah. So you said you were annoyed during the first game because his pieces were active and yours weren't, but then you had your lucky chance. And how were you feeling during the second game? Because obviously you're 1 point up, but you were suffering in your position.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I thought I'm fine, and then when I realized that my position was actually pretty bad, I already had not that much time to think about how bad it actually was. So then I was just focusing on trying to survive.
Yeah, and your heart rate actually indicated that you were quite stressed. I think you got to 130s at some point. Anything above 120, it's flashing red.
I mean, during the games?
Yeah, during the games.
I saw 160 on my clock, but...
Ah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think
it did get one point get to 160. So
okay, here we can see 161.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty high.
Yeah, already kind of expected it.
And did you feel calm, or did you feel that?
No, I really feel this during the games, but I don't know. In my opinion, to me, it feels like it's kind of necessary to be able to play like with only 2 seconds increment. Because, you know, you don't not only have to like see the move of the opponent, calculate and make a move into seconds, but it should also be like a decent move into seconds. So I think it's kind of the essence to be like really focused to be able to keep up at least a decent level.
And did the panic set in at one point? Because we saw you anxiously looking at the clock and then the board and then the clock.
I think that's something I just normally do. It's not something I specifically thought about. So.
And have you played many Armageddon games before? Because obviously at some point it's quite likely you might get an Armageddon game here.
Over the board I never played any like tournament Armageddon game. Online I played quite a few, but I think it's very different, yeah, with pre-moves being a thing and so on. So yeah, it will be very interesting if I get to an Armageddon here.
And what was it like under the lights? Because obviously you're playing in a very fancy studio.
Yeah. It's special, first of all. I think the lights, I mean, it didn't distract me. It was nice, you know, you could see everything. But it feels kind of different for the start of the game, you know. I think for me, when I start to play the game and I get into like this kind of focus zone, I don't really recognize what's going on around me. So then at this point, it's kind of the same. But yeah, for the start, it's a bit different, and you realize your surroundings.
And moving on to the brackets, you can see that your opponent will be Jan Krzysztof Duda. How are you feeling about that encounter?
Yeah, it certainly is going to be very tough. I mean, I think we can call him a blitz specialist also. Not that he's not extremely strong in classical and rapid, but yeah, I think in blitz also his rating should be extremely high.
He did mention that he's lost a couple of games to you, actually, because he came in here and did an interview in Blitz, so he seemed, could we say, a little bit scared?
I don't know. Yeah, with him, I mean, I don't think we played that many games. So, but you know, these 2-game Blitz matches are really, really tricky. I mean, basically on such a level, one even inaccuracy could cost you the whole match. So, of course, it's very hard. But yeah, I mean, you know, it's a lot of fighting chess, that's for sure.
Yeah, and you have 2 days off now. What will you do in Berlin?
I didn't even know I had 2 days off, so now I don't know. I mean, we are really in the center of Berlin, so I mean, I've been to Berlin a few times. I really like the parks here around, go for a walk, of course, also relax, prepare, just also enjoy life a little bit.
Blitz.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I think, online is always different, so you can't really practice this. But of course, I'm probably gonna play some Blitz, do some tactics, whatever, just to keep sharp.
Thank you very much. And, good luck in your remaining games.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Time to mention one of our partners. As a technology and digital privacy company, Kaspersky supports the secure advancement of chess in the digital space and its expansion into online tournaments. A perfect combination of human excellence and strong technology.
Yeah, and what a great day of chess we had today, and a beautiful way to start this fascinating tournament. I mean, historically, I think it's fair to say that Europe has had the strongest chess players, and they're fighting it out here. We had in the first match our friend and the Spider. I love giving nicknames. At home, you should all try to give the players nicknames, be polite, and the commentators, be polite. But you had the Spider, and he went down against Duda, but it was a very close match. Then we had Vincent keeping his cool a bit better there in that second match, I'd say.
Yes, certainly in the clash between the Germans. It was Vincent, just 18 years old, German's strongest player. And taking a look at the bracket, we do have some more exciting games in store for you tomorrow, because it is a battle between Richard Rapport against Jordan van Foreest, one of the most creative players around. And then we have Matthias Blubaum, our online qualifier. And there he is playing against a Blitz specialist. He's been Blitz world champion quite a few times, Maxime Vacher-Lagrave.
I can't wait for tomorrow. I mean, both of those matches brilliant, but I have to say, Richard Rapport versus Jordan van Foreest, these two players are known as the two most creative chess players in the world. So that is going to be fire on the board. And Jovanka, I remember a very famous saying that Mickey Adams once said, and he was asked in an interview, what's the best thing about being a professional chess player? And do you know what he answered?
No.
He answered, he never had to get a proper job. He avoided getting a proper job. He could play chess his whole life and make a good living from it. And that's what the players are playing for here. They're all fighting for a good bit of prize money. And it's like a gladiatorial battle, isn't it, of the mind, which is fascinating.
Yeah. Not just the mind, but also the nerves. Yeah. I'm slightly disappointed that the players didn't get the memo that it's Armageddon. We want to see Armageddon. But of course, we will get it tomorrow. And I have to say, again, well done. Well done to Jan Christoph Duda and, of course, Vincent Kaimer for getting those match victories.
Yeah, definitely. And it's going to be brilliant tomorrow. I mean, it was a good start, but are we going to play an Armageddon game if we don't get it, me and you? Should we just get the board out, play a little bit of Armageddon? Would everyone like to see that? I'm a bit scared because last time we played, you destroyed me. But maybe maybe I'll get you a glass of wine first or something.
Oh, I play very good when I have wine.
I'm worried about that. Yeah, very confidently. So we'll see. We might get the Armageddon out, but we're bound to have it. And I do predict it tomorrow with those pairings. I mean, both brilliant matches. And, you know, Richard Rapport was just recently a second for the current world champion. And that must have been a real experience. He's got lots of interesting ideas up his sleeve. I don't know what's going to happen in the opening there. It will be fascinating.
I can't wait to see. It's going to be the creative pessimist against the creative optimist. Richard,
are you an optimist or pessimist?
Optimist.
Of course, yeah. I knew the answer to that already. Yeah, I think we both are. But make sure you come back tomorrow for the same kind of format, but some more great chess. And no one's knocked out yet. Let's remember, it's a double elimination tournament. It's just warming up. It can only get better and better.
See you tomorrow.